humanity to stand up in the info war and say, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this, but you want to fight, you better believe you got one.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Stone was about to leave the airport, but he's delayed his flight back to Florida so that he can break this down with us here in studio right now. I normally get really excited on air because these are very excitable times, but we've been doing about an hour of research here on two different big subjects, and I'm going to try to be as calm as I can because this is so big. We have a Comey memo the New York Times just broke in the last hour, says Trump asked him to end Flynn investigation. And when you actually read what's supposedly in the memo, if it's real, we've seen Comey put out a lot of disinformation. Trump didn't really do anything, but that isn't what matters. What matters is this guy has been on the board of HSBC, the big corrupt multinational bank caught in all the money laundering, and has a long history of cases ending favorably for the Clintons. That's why Barack Hussein Obama put him in. But then even after the Democrats said get rid of him because their lapdog didn't act perfectly the way they wanted, he kind of hedged his bets. They're upset now that Trump got rid of him, but Trump got rid of him because this guy is his own man and is in the way of restoring the republic. We'll get Roger Stone's expert breakdown, former head of the Trump campaign, here in just a moment. Big hit show, obviously, hit documentary, #1 in the country right now. Get Me Roger Stone. I just saw that a few nights ago. It's amazing on Netflix. But here's the big news. And I really got angry at myself about an hour after the broadcast ended at 3 o'clock Central today when I went and read deeper into the headlines. And I saw a Zero Hedge article at Infowars.com, the great folks at Zero Hedge, and I saw it on Drudge. And I went, where did they get that? Because I looked at all the news this morning and I didn't see that. I'd heard that from sources, but I didn't know that. It was hiding in national Fox News report and in the local Fox News report with the quotes, not just of the former NYPD detective that is a private investigator hired by the family, but by a federal source. So it's not just like the PI said all this. He gave him a federal source who talked off record and said, quote, murdered DNC staffer Seth Rich shared 44,053 Democrat emails with WikiLeaks. Now, that's basically what Assange said. He says, we don't give up our sources, but he's dead now. I can tell you he could be our source. I'm not going to say, but we've got a bounty out. What's that tell you? So you look at where they got this information. Fox News has the link to it. This is so bombshell. The federal investigator who requested anonymity said the 44,000 plus emails and 17,761 attachments. Wow, that's documents. So Lord knows one attachment could be 100 pages or one. The federal investigator who requested anonymity said the 44,000 emails and 17,000 plus attachments between Democratic National Committee leaders spanning from January 2015 through late May 2016 were transferred from Rich to McFadden before May 21st, which we knew. And then, of course, he was killed in July. And then by August, we were on air saying they clearly murdered him. We played that clip earlier today. So I'd love to say, hey, we predicted that, Guilfoyle at Fox would be the new press secretary last week, which they're now saying she's in the vetting to do. But that's a little side issue. That's a happy issue. This is a sad, sad issue because here it is from Fox News. Here it is from Zero Hedge pointing it out. And there's more coming out. Was DNC hack an inside job, after all? Yes, absolutely. Not the Russians, but a patriot who's dead. His family hires a PI because he shot a bunch in the back and nothing stolen. That was in the police report.
Yes.
Now they're backing off saying, oh, well, we just don't want to say anything. But are they going to claim the private investigator is a liar and now this unnamed federal officer? This country is in a civil war against corrupt interest. We have the New Yorker magazine calling for the United States to have never been formed today while they claim Donald John Trump is a traitor. No, the president is not a traitor, and that's why the traitors of the world are lined up to try to take him out. Then there's the sub-question, I'll hand the baton to Stone. Did the Washington Post publish dubious Russia story to discredit from Seth Rich bombshell? I think the obvious answer is yes, but now they're on to a new one, which is Comey and his supposed paper trail on the president. You can see them upping the attack before he goes on his first world trip and looks presidential and cements the deal even further. Not just $3 trillion in the stock market, $300 billion in new jobs, not just killing TPP, not just 43% down illegals, not just getting a great Supreme Court justice cemented. No, they want to erase all of that in their admissions in New Yorker Magazine and Foreign Affairs. They want to remove Trump, say it was all a fake election, Russian run, and remove the new Congress as well. So America has now gone from the battle we won to the final war of Armageddon for the future, figuratively, of this republic. So we go from Seth Rich and the new developments, incredible, federal investigator telling Fox News, yes, he was the leaker, not the Russians. Huge. It wasn't the Russians. It was a patriotic Democrat that didn't like the fraud and the evil. Boom, huge. They respond knowing this had just come out, just like they did to the original Seth Rich yesterday with the Washington Post hoax about the secrets that were laptops with bombs that was in the news 2 months ago. Now they've clearly brought out the new Comey memo they had waiting to obscure this. That's my take. We haven't pre-war gamed this. Roger and I have been researching privately in our offices for the last hour. Roger Stone, you've got the floor. Break it down.
You know, Alex, this reminds me of when the president gave a masterful State of the Union address. And 2 days later, to try to tamp down the public acclaim and the enthusiasm, they leaked the story that Attorney General Jeff Sessions, when he was a U.S. Senator, met with the Russian ambassador, as if that were a crime. You see this pattern again and again, where the administration has some positive information to put out, or has an uptick of results, economic results, for example, and the mainstream media will go out and fabricate a story to try to tamp the president's success and his popularity down. That is precisely what's happened here. The significance of the Seth Rich story is that it is a mortal blow to the whole phony Russian collusion narrative. Now, for the first time, we have proof that the Russians did not hack the DNC emails.
But
that's why they wanted to bury this story.
And with perfect, you're so on target. But with perfect choreography, like it's a ballet dance, now that that's imploded, they move like the FBI so often does when there's no real crime to the obstruction and the lying to the FBI or trying to influence a case. So perfectly, as that little stepping stool across the pond melts into oblivion, a new one pops up and a whole new scandal.
This is the Comey story from today's New York Times is extraordinary because, first of all, this is not a tape. Mr. Comey does not have a tape of the president. He has his recollections of a meeting. Well, this is the same guy who recollected the wrong number of emails that Huma Abedin supposedly sent to Anthony Weiner's server. Why should we believe this guy? This is a CYA memo. For all we know, Comey wrote it this morning. A man who will cover up the HSBC crimes and then profit personally from it cannot be trusted. He has no great reputation for veracity. Just the opposite is true. He covered up the Sandy Berger crimes for the Clintons. He covered up the Mark Rich bribery to get a pardon. That again, Mr. Comey. So why should we believe him? I think he shredded his public credibility on the Hillary Clinton email issue alone. Who would detail her crimes in great detail and then reach the conclusion that she should not be prosecuted?
And then you've got waltzing onto the airplane Bill Clinton while he's under criminal investigation. And let's go back to that. We've got Comey calling Trump crazy that he was surveilled. Now it's all confirmed and on record. You've got him running HSBC after he covered up for its crimes. And then you've got Trump properly showing he's got good guys in the Bureau telling him what's going on. Hey, you better watch what you make up because there's probably tapes, dumb butt. And so I think Trump trumped him, to use the pun. I mean, clearly he did trump him. Trump's telling him, watch out what you make up, because, they've been passing these memos, these fantasy novels, these little love letters to Hillary Clinton that Comey's been writing in his daydreams. I mean, isn't that powerful now that we know Trump 3 days ago said, watch out, there might be tapes?
We now know that the president anticipated this and he moved to checkmate it. Mr. Comey should be concerned that perhaps the president
How about he gets indicted for covering up for Hillary? I am sick of hearing when Hillary committed all these crimes and Obama did, and opening the borders and saying he's above the law and selling us out to China, and then these damn traitors point at our champion who is actually trying to restore the republic and say he's the criminal. I'm done. This is a civil war.
What do we know? How do we know that the president did not direct the Secret Service to tape the conversation? I think it's likely.
And that's his prerogative. He has his branch of government.
That is correct. So it looks to me
and
like
Comey serves him in that branch. The presidency created the FBI.
So if
to fight communists like the globalist.
If the tape does not match Mr. Comey's recollection, assuming the tape does in fact agree,
then it's basically perjury to the public.
That's what it appears to me. This is so obviously a fabrication by Comey, and you're right. It fits this mosaic. It's like a timeline. Every time the president does something good, every time the president achieves a significant
he has a good
goal.
address to Congress, they roll out some new lie.
Right.
He has a good meeting with a leader, they roll out some lie. He catches terrorists, they roll out a new lie. He's about to go on a world trip, they roll out a new lie. They get caught with the Seth Rich stuff, they roll out a new lie. Now we expose that as a lie, they roll another lie.
I mean, it is interesting that the Times story actually says that the memo was part of a paper trail Mr. Comey created documenting what he perceived as the president's improper efforts to influence a continuing investigation.
That's right. Let's show that New York Times article on air.
What are the other items in this paper trail? There is no Russian collusion. Therefore, Mr. Comey has come up empty-handed. Why would it be wrong for the president to point that out, that this is
exactly.
fraud?
At that point, we already had 3-4 months of fake investigation. Congress is saying it's fake. And he's like, hey, he's resigned. I hope we can just drop this. The president's allowed to say, I hope this is no big deal. He's a good guy. And the director says, yeah, he's a good guy. It's all right there. I've got my article here. In fact, I'll show people right here. Comey memo says Trump asked him to end Flynn investigation. I hope you can let this go. It goes on to say the memo to the Times reporter. They read this to him. They won't show it to him. I hope you can see your way. I hope you can see your way. Your way, meaning I hope that this isn't an issue. I hope, when you're 14 years old and you get caught stealing beer out of the neighbor's cooler, I hope the cops will drop, the neighbor drops this. I hope you can see your way clear. Not I'm the president, I'll destroy you if you don't do what I want. No, I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. That shows a lot of loyalty to Mr. Trump, Mr. Comey, according to the memo. He is a good guy. I hope you can let this go. Mr. Trump told Mr. Comey that Mr. Flynn had done nothing wrong. See, he didn't say, oh, he did something wrong, you better stop. He said he's done nothing wrong. Hope you can let it go. That's his free speech in America. But Comey runs off. Mr. Comey did not say anything to Mr. Trump about curtailing the investigation, only replying, I agree, he's a good guy. In testimony, this is key, to the Senate last week, the acting FBI director, remember, it's in a memo 3 times that Comey wasn't investigating Trump. Andrew G. McCabe, the acting director, said, there has been no effort to impede our investigation to date. Your damn witch hunt, you got the Clintons caught naked with the Chinese sock puppeting them. The Russians are a little hors d'oeuvre over here on the side. And then you're trying to claim that Trump is this Ruski agent. Give me a break.
Yeah, let's recognize right now. Let's go back through that contradiction. On the one hand, Comey says he created the documents he created this paper trail to document the president's improper efforts to influence a continuing investigation.
That's paragraph 3.
Yet the current acting FBI director said there has been no effort to impede our investigation to date. So which is it? You see, this is how you can tell.
And this is why Comey, this had to go, because the Bureau and the real things going on says one thing, then Comey and the Democrats say another. Trump's like, hey, he's resigned. I don't think he did anything wrong. I hope this goes away. God, of course you do. It's like your son gets in a fist fight at school. Hey, I hope this can go away. Then it goes on, again, McCabe saying there's been no effort to impede them so far. So a major contradiction. I'll give it to the New York Times. At least they admit this. If it was the Washington Post, they wouldn't even show that.
This is really evocative of the Washington Post story of this morning, where they created something out of whole cloth. The president told the Russians that he's concerned that ISIS is developing technology to use laptop computers as bombs on planes, which has appeared in every major paper in the country.
For 2.5 months.
and they make it sound like he has given away the nuclear codes. I mean, it is really extraordinary.
Here it is, New York Times, Washington Post. U.S. raid in Yemen led to laptop ban. I mean, here it all is. There's hundreds of articles. Let's bring in Rob Dew, the InfoWars Nightly News director, great researcher, to give his take on this. I drug him in here because he's helped us go over this. This is clear, though, Rob, every day it's a new fake scandal, but they don't care. They're just hammering. He's got leakers all around him. But I got to tell you, out of all this, the Seth Rich thing, you're right when you said this last night, and when we look at it today, and Paul Watson wrote the article pointing it out, did Washington Post publish dubious Russia story to distract from Seth Rich bombshell? Clearly, then it comes out that federal investigators are saying, yeah, no, he gave the emails, he's the leaker, it's not the Russians. This is clearly to cover up their whole narrative just imploded, and now they're bringing out stuff they were probably planning a few weeks from now, their next phase. So we forced them to early launch the next demonization phase.
Yeah, most likely. And they're still empty-handed on the whole Russian narrative. They still have nothing.
It's beyond empty-handed.
I think this is a major blow to that whole meme. We now know definitively that Seth Rich was in touch with WikiLeaks. When I said this to Mike Isikoff of Yahoo News, he accused me of being a conspiracy theorist. Oh, no, it was a robbery. There is no evidence.
Yeah, you were out with Guilfoyle this weekend, and a week ago, plus we learned she would probably be the person now it's admitted, and we're just horrible because we have contacts. The truth is, all these lazy journalists hate it.
When we have sources, yeah, they hate it when we have sources. They despise it, and they want to know who our sources are, as if we should give up our sources. Yes, I was told by a source in August that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks had the goods on Hillary, and they would dump them in October.
And it came out.
And it was all true.
Doesn't mean we're like the Russians. Oh, excuse me. Oh, Putin. Yes, I get the orders. It's not Putin. It's the U.S. intel agencies. I've been told by people that are currently high-level CIA. They can't stand the globalists. They're done. And that's another thing. I'm not saying the CIA is perfect or good or whatever. It's a mixed group of people. The CIA, Defense Intelligence, all of it, they're done with the New World Order. They're done with globalism. They know it's a fraud. So when we hear it's the whole CIA and the whole intelligence agencies after Trump, it's not true. It's the top-level Obama, Clinton holdovers, as you keep pointing out, that he can't get rid of because he's brought in the wrong people that are stalemating him.
There are some in the bureaucracy who have burrowed their way in, who are neocons. But in no way are we trying to impugn the patriotism of individual FBI agents, individual Secret Service agents, individual CIA agents. Those agencies have many, thousands, I would say, of employees who are patriotic Americans trying to do the right thing.
And I'm not in the business of kissing their butt, but in this last election, they were the MVPs. They're the ones that got WikiLeaks the info. Democrats, CIA, FBI, Secret Service met with us and said, get ready. She's falling down, having convulsions. Watch her. And then it happened a week later.
Exactly.
I mean, and they're like, oh, Jones fake news. Oh, really? Hillary Clinton had a brain tumor removed, okay? We just don't want to get into medical record stuff because that's a federal crime.
No, this is the fake news. This is so obviously.
Yeah, I mean, my sources, I don't want to get into it. The point is, we're not making jack squat up. And everybody knows it, and that's why we're so hated, because we have the will to talk about it. Rob Dew, come in here.
Yeah, Alex, it's interesting. This Fox News article says family of slain DNC staffer Seth Rich blasts detective over talking about this case. So they
hired him.
Exactly. They hired him to do it, but this article makes it seem like he's bad, and all the information's in it. And the investigator they talked to, the federal investigator, confirms. He says, I have seen and read the emails between Seth Rich and WikiLeaks. Seth Rich was talking to a guy named Gavin McFadden, who's associated with WikiLeaks. He's dead now, interestingly enough. He's also dead, so dead men tell no tales.
Dead folks.
But then he's confirming it. He confirms the 44,000 emails, the 17,000 attachments, and yet all we see on the news, we're watching the news right now, it's nothing about this. It's all about these fake Trump-Russia connections. That's all it's ever going to be, it seems like.
It's a blocking move. They want to block what was a blockbuster story that knocks the stuffing out of their whole phony Russian collusion narrative with this fabricated story from that paragon of virtue and truthfulness, James Comey.
Well, and it makes those two federal investigations just seem obsolete right now, because you've got the Senate and the House spending millions of dollars investigating this stuff, and it has nothing.
So now they're going to move on to lying
nothing.
to federal officers, and now they're going to move on to obstruction of justice. When the obstruction of justice is Comey letting Loretta Lynch do all the things she did. The only reason Comey had to finally say some bad stuff about Hillary was his whole agency was in an uproar, credit to them, the FBI, because he met with her, because she met with Clinton illegally. And so he had to say, okay, she committed crimes, but I can't get anybody to indict her. So that's why this happened, because we, the people, forced it out. The listeners watching right now, you're not going to get the last 20-minute analysis of what's happening anywhere else. We've done the research. Get this video out on YouTube, Facebook, restream it on Periscope, your own YouTube channels. I don't care. Call C-SPAN with it. You've got to get aggressive right now, because there's a war for the future of this country and the world happening right now. And quite frankly, the reason we have these big sources, the reason we are breaking this is most people are cowards that work in government and media. And yeah, people are getting killed over this. So this isn't a game. This is big boy pants stuff. This is big league. This isn't Bush League. We're here. And so the good news is, as bad as all this is, and as hardcore as the war is in information, we've come a long way, Roger, from where patriots were when you 15 years ago started getting more away from the establishment and writing all your books exposing the New World Order. You'd been one of them. You believed you were working for America through their own system. You kind of had that come to Jesus moment. Let's briefly talk about that. And now you've been a great force for good, kind of like Darth Vader throwing Emperor Palpatine down the reactor shaft.
Very interesting that the New York Times story, Alex, says that in Virginia, a federal grand jury has issued subpoenas in recent weeks for records related to Mr. Flynn. As you know, Susan Rice has refused to cooperate with the Senate or House Intelligence Committee pertaining to her misuse, illegal use of wiretapped information. Where is Susan Rice's subpoena? Why isn't Adam Schiff and Dianne Feinstein jumping up and down demanding that she appear before the committee? In fact, where is the investigation into what was, in fact, the surveillance of Donald Trump at Trump Tower? When James Comey told the House Intelligence Committee, he said there was no surveillance. That means if there was one recording, then Comey perjured himself.
And also, you have the Anthony Weiner's laptop. We've never seen what's on that. That story also evaporated because of the fake Pizzagate narrative that got everybody bamboozled by that.
That's right. And now we've got the ultimate bombshell. Federal investigators tell Fox News 40+ thousand emails, 44,000 plus, 17,000 plus attachments transferred to WikiLeaks by Seth Rich. It's no longer conspiracy theory. It's all confirmed. What are you going to do? Here's the article. Fox News, murdered DNC staffer sent 44,000 internal emails to WikiLeaks. And then you actually read the Fox News report right here. The federal investigator who requested anonymity said 44,053 emails, 17,761 attachments between Democrat National Committee leaders spanning from January 2015 through late May 2016 were transferred from Rich to McFadden before May 21st, before he got killed, shot in the back. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is so huge. And there it is, not a Russian. DNC staffer had contact with WikiLeaks, and it's all confirmed. A patriot. Dead, shot 4 times in the back, nothing stolen. My God, these hitmen at least should rob you so there's a cover story. They don't even care. They gunned down a guy that knows the Democrats are the most evil people on earth. The Republican leadership is a close second. Trump isn't perfect, but he's battling tyranny, trying to get our jobs back, fighting so hard. He's surrounded by scum. And I just, Roger, this is such just a crazy time.
I think Rob Dua raised an excellent point, and that is the other shoe that will ultimately drop is the 650,000 emails that Mr. Comey brushed off on the day before the election. So to get this in some perspective, it took Comey 2 years to review 33,000 emails of Hillary Clinton. But in 2 days, they completely vetted 650,000, and they told us it was benign. My sources in the NYPD, who originally found the emails, and guess what, Mr. Comey, kept a copy when they turned over
child porn, everything.
This is the downfall of the Clintons. There is evidence of treason. There is evidence of self-dealing,
money laundering,
corruption, child sex exploitation. This is a treasure trove that could send the Clintons to prison.
And they knew we had all that. So then they focused online on Reddit on some pizza place where the Democrats go. Everybody focuses on it. We look at it and go, that might be twisted. The real stuff's in New York. Then we back off of it just incredibility-wise, going, oh. Then they go, oh, you retracted because you knew it was fake. We led the way by early December saying, get off the pizza place. Pizzagate is pizza terms for pedophilia, but not Alefantis and all that. We said that was a diversion by the New York Times, by the Washington Post, by CNN, diverting us onto that. It only worked on me for a few days. It still works on some of the viewers, unfortunately, but that's how they do it. Just like it comes out, Seth Rich is murdered. He's the WikiLeaker. Everything's confirmed. It's not the Russians. It's a patriotic Democrat. They bring out to buy time that Trump's with the Russians giving him secrets. None of that's true. That comes out. Then they jump to the next fraud. Now they jump to, oh, he said, hey, he's resigned. I don't think he did anything wrong. I hope this gets dropped. That's totally normal. But they're going to act like, oh, my God, we just caught you. What does your gut tell you in closing, Roger Stone, where all this is going?
I think it's a non-starter. I think that Mr. Comey is busted. This is his memory. Again, he's hardly now an unbiased source. This is an attempt at revenge.
Clinton operative, HSBC.
And in this case,
if Trump has tapes, we can prove this is forged. Sorry, go ahead.
And I don't think that the president would have gone out on Twitter and intimated that there were tapes unless there were. Never underestimate Donald J. Trump. Never.
Let me ask you this question. It's totally illegal for him to record that. The phone call's recorded anyways. National security.
As you know, Presidents Kennedy, Nixon famously, but Presidents Kennedy and Johnson also recorded their phone calls.
Because folks make up, even me, I'm not like a president. People get on the phone with me, they make crap up I didn't say just to act like,
Well, in the case of Nixon, the main reason that he recorded his phone calls was because he knew Henry Kissinger would come back later and take credit for all of the massive successes in foreign policy that were Nixon's idea, where Henry was merely the implementer. He put in the recording system to protect himself from Dr. Henry Kissinger, and that is a fact. I know this because the president told me that himself.
And one thing, Alex, you can't underestimate the people out there that are brainwashed into believing this Russian cult fairy tale. When I put out that tweet last night with Seth Rich wasn't a Russian, he was a patriot, people were going, oh, that's how the Russians off you. That's how they made it look. People still believe. They want to believe no matter what. You could have bona fide proof that Seth Rich was not a Russian in any way, shape, or form and did it. They don't care. They want to believe the Russian narrative.
Let me expand on it. In fact, maybe we can end with this in a few minutes. Go to our Facebook. It's that first video we did last night about McMaster outed, as the guy that leaked the info, where the guy runs up and yells at us, the British guy.
Yes.
And by the way, I love Brits, but this guy's a little panty waist.
He had the handkerchief tucked in his sleeve. Did you notice that?
Exactly. We're all there. We're like down some hallway at the JW Marriott. My parents are downstairs having dinner. We go do a live feed on this. We pick some hallway. Yeah. Let's back it up to the beginning. We'll play the whole thing at the end of this. And I hear, you're a traitor, and he's a traitor, and you're going to take traitors are going. And these two guys are bowed up like 80 feet away. So I march over and I go, who's a traitor? So he goes, oh, how's your wife doing? Knowing I had a divorce 3 years ago and it's been in the news. Like, well, my new wife's doing great. My new child, my kids are with me. Everything's great. All the stuff you saw in the news is a hoax. But that part didn't matter. He just says, I don't want to talk to you. You're just a piece of crap. And I had other people go, F you. But here's the good news. We're outside literally just a feet of this. Few cars drive by and go, F you, Alex Jones, F you, Roger Stone, which showing we're having an effect. People in cars driving by in the dark know who we are. I mean, good God. So
we revel in it. Go ahead.
We revel in it. So then we're walking over and I hear my voice. There's a guy on a phone listening to the show while he's waiting for his rideshare. And we talked to him, took photos with him. Then we go over and the two valets come over with our cars. We weren't staying there. We're eating dinner there. And they're listeners. I'm driving home. I turn the talk radio on. They're talking about Roger been on the show that day. I get home. The Statesman has written an article. The point is that we're changing history. Karl Rove said he was history's actor and making it global is BS. No, we the people are. So the good news is here, they may call us traitors all day. The fact that Roger Stone, super right-wing, anti-communist, communist Cuban, married to a, famous, Cuban exile's daughter, my family battling communist, the claim, plus the Russians aren't communists now, that we're controlled by them is an insult. I've never had Russians, except for like once in New York with sex ops or something. And I said, obviously, no, that's how they operate. I have never dealt with Russians. I've dealt with Saudi Arabians. I've dealt with Latin American groups. I've dealt with all these agencies. I've dealt with leftist groups, communist, Ford Foundation. The Russians on the Richter scale, RT's barely watched in the United States. It's big overseas. The Russians aren't running this. You, the listeners, support Infowars.com. We want lower taxes, Second Amendment, sovereignty. The idea that Trump controlling our borders, bringing in trillions in the stock market, cutting the UN funding, destroying ISIS, reversing the UN takeover, getting us conservative to the Supreme Court. The idea that he is a Russian is I mean, God, if he is a Russian, I love Russians. I mean, this is a load of manure. Go ahead.
Well, and it's particularly outrageous in view of the fact that Bill Clinton actually
Keep talking for a minute. You take over.
sold our missile guidance technology to the Chinese, an act of treason for which he got illegal campaign contributions. Bill Clinton gave $1 billion transfer to the Russians that they used to build a bomb-proof bunker, a missile-proof bunker in the Ural Mountains, another act of treason. Yet they have the nerve to call us traitors. Well, I've been called a dirty trickster. There's one trick that's not in my bag, and that's treason. I resent it, which is why, Alex, I continue to demand to testify before the House and Senate Intelligence Committees.
Well, Roger, I get the fact that you revel in them calling you a trickster, so you have fun with it. But they ran the media in the 70s and 80s. You helped invent what they call negative campaigning. And that just meant countering them with the truth. I watched those ads you produced. They're milquetoast compared to today. I use the truth. They always call it a weapon, call it hateful. So I get you rebel in their definition, but I know you well. Everything, because I went and did my own research for an hour, so did you. We walk in here, we're on the same sheet of music because it's the truth. I've not seen you lie or twist or dissemble in the years I've known you. So then it's kind of this paradoxical thing that you let them call you that and kind of go along with it because I guess that just rubs it in their face and they think villains are cool. You know, everybody likes villains in wrestling, but it's just not true, Roger. I mean, I get you supported some third world strongmen and dictators. Now,
all of whom were pro-United States and pro-West.
I was about to say, who were literally fighting communists that would murder every person that knew how to wipe their ass in places, you know, in Africa or Latin America. So my whole thing is, you know, literally communists are killing everybody. Roger Stone goes, pro-U.S. government, has somebody that at least lets people have electricity and let Christians live in peace. I'm not saying it's perfect, but the left always saying, I saw something where communists never killed anybody. I mean, they're the dirt bags. So why do you revel in the villain thing?
I don't, but I'm stuck with it. And the truth is, it's going to lead my obit in the New York Times when I died. I'm not concerned about it because I know that the left would not be attacking me this way. They would not be trying to hang this title on me if I'd been ineffective. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's not about me. I don't care whether people like me. I care about whether my ideals succeed. I care about whether the candidates who are carrying the banner of freedom win. That's what I care about.
You just said it. We're the shock troops hitting the barbed wire at the machine gun nest so the guys with the flamethrowers can come up. We're the shock troops that hit it first.
I couldn't win an election. I'm not standing for an election, but I can win an election for candidates who are putting forward the precepts of freedom and liberty in a smaller, more efficient constitutional government. That's what this fight is about.
And that's the paradox. These idiots, I realized this years ago, they don't put in the news, I'm a loser or I'm getting sued or I've lost my wife as if it really hurts me. It only makes me bigger. They do it so weak little-minded people think, oh, he's a failure. Alex Jones is a failure. No. The media, when it had more respect 50 years ago, would have destroyed me with all this. They're so discredited. When they attacked Rand Paul 5 years ago, they made him get elected in a landslide. As soon as they attack us, they're so discredited, they don't get, let me explain something to all the weak minds that comment on Twitter and Facebook and Google and say, oh, look at you, you're a loser. I've never had more listeners. I've never had more viewers. I've never had more success. I've never known cooler people. We've never had such an effect in society, in the world, than we are because the discredited establishment is attacking us. They're discredited. They're the system falling apart. They are the bygones. They're gone. They're old. We're trying to lead into a new world for our children and grandchildren. That's what America's all about, trailblazing. Other people may look at the man who stumbles in the arena. In fact, I meant to play this the other day, that famous Teddy Roosevelt quote about the man in the arena. If we can put it on screen, and final comments from you and we're going to go this tape. But, you know, don't worry about the guy that sits there, the cynic, the critic up in the bleachers, who points at the strong man stumbling and failing, trying to do great things, or maybe even doing great things and changing the world, because it is the man in the arena and the woman in the arena that actually counts. And I saw Putin. Putin's made stuff more conservative, pro-Christian, lower taxes than us, has a horrible job in Russia. He has reformed them after 80 years of globalist control so much. I'm not a Putinite. I don't sit there and have a picture of him on my wall. But the point is is that compared to our leaders, he's so much more of a straight shooter. And then he fell down in a match with a bunch of guys younger than him twice. He made like 5 or 6 goals. He fell down twice playing hockey. And they said, look, he says he's a strong man, but he fell down. You think any of our politicians at 65 would get out there on a hockey rink and start winning? He fell down. He's the man in the arena. Look at how the strong man fell. You think when I fall down it's some victory? I'm in the arena, fools. And I don't say that to my enemies like I'm pissing on them. I want you to be real men finally and not be candy asses that sit there and look at people in the arena. If they kill me, I win. If I don't get killed and live to 110, I win. I win because I'm real. I'm real because I took action. I'm real because I cared about people. I'm real because I told the truth. Get used to it. Nothing can trump it. Nothing can stop it. And they hate Trump because he's real. He believes in America. Is his vision perfect? No, none of ours are. But they know he's who he is. He represents us, and they're shitting their drawers. Sorry, Roger.
Look, there is no shame in trying and failing. There's only shame in not trying and not striving and not fighting. This is true of the president. Look at the way the mainstream media cackled about the failure of the repeal of Obamacare, obsessed with it, redicing it weeks after.
A month later, it passes.
And a month later, it passes, meaning that all of that Sturm and Drang was for nothing.
Oh, 8 goals, sorry.
But they wanted to point out how the president failed. He does not lose anything in his base, in my view, by striving against the monolith that surrounds him in Washington and losing. He only loses when he fails to fight. He only loses when he gives up. And he's not a quitter, and he will never give up in his efforts to make this country great again.
Isn't this the archetypal underdog, the lion against 1,000 hyenas and wolves? I mean, this is so epic what we're watching. I don't want to give my heart to Trump. I don't, but it's America. It's the striving. It's our enemies attacking him. You know a man by his enemies. The fact is, he really is doing things that are so epic, and then a bunch of weaklings say anonymously, we think he's got Alzheimer's. Just made up horse manure. I mean, it just pisses me off.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. I think the president's got a little bit of a shock here. In other words, looking at history, I think he thought that if he was congenial and he tried to unite the country and he was conciliatory, that the Democrats would meet him halfway and the media would meet him halfway. He did, after all, win the election, and he's the president of the United States. What he's found is that his critics are more ferocious, more vicious, less truthful than ever before. And you push Donald Trump into a corner, you will make a giant mistake. He will come back at you. He will fight. He's now, I think, clearly defined who the enemies are. And he's starting to catch on that those establishment Republicans that he brought inside the tent have not served him well.
And exactly what you told me and other sources said last week. They said he's pissed. He's saying, you make your cabinets work or you're gone. I don't care. No more excuses. I want patriots in. And they're saying, oh, the White House, New York Times, they're very uncomfortable. So Trump now gets, I just wanted to cut taxes and make poor people wealthy and make all the rich even richer. I just wanted to not have one-way streets screwing us. And you people are against me. He is not even demoralized now. He's pissed.
I think that's true. I think he's angry, and he's been epically disserved by many of the people that he has selected. He's made mistakes, but he did it for good reasons. He thought uniting the country, uniting the party, he thought he would have some cohesiveness. What he doesn't understand is that the globalists and the two-party duopoly that have run this country for the last 30 years into the gutter are not going to give away power easily.
He delivered trillions in the stock market, hundreds of billions in jobs, instantly, did everything he said, and then his own base bitch he didn't do more. And then he said, oh, I'll compromise to get more stuff done, and they attacked him more. So now we just got to pray for Trump, pray for InfoWars, pray for all of us, because we're in the eye of the storm. Closing comment from Rob Dew, then Roger Stone, and then I'm going to play this whole video of us last night breaking down what happened and running into this cuck. And I know I'm looking for trouble, but you want to call me a traitor and then not say it to my face once I walk up to you? It's like, dude, it means something to say I'm a traitor. I'm a real person. And you're not even a citizen running your mouth. But see, I'm a traitor against globalism. I'm a traitor against trendyism. I'm a traitor against dandies. Here it is.
Hey, Alex, just to back up what you were saying earlier about the shock troopers. And in that tweet I put out, imagine my shock that, we were covering this months ago about Seth Rich being the guy who leaked this information to WikiLeaks. Back on August 10th, 2016, we have the video, Does Assange Have Proof of Clinton Murder? And it's you in the show talking about this particular incident. We were talking about this back in August. That is why we need your support more than ever, because we're out there on the front lines getting the news and giving it to you straight, while other people are running around going, oh, we can't say this yet. It's unsubstantiated. We knew it was. The writing was on the wall. It was so clear. Obviously, you have a guy shot twice in the back, and they didn't steal anything. Didn't steal his wallet. Didn't steal his watch. Didn't steal his cell phone.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
At 3 in the morning, yeah. And we're supposed to believe, oh, it was a robbery gone bad. Total BS. We saw it from the beginning. And that's just one of the many articles and videos that we had out there on the subject back in the summer of 2016. Here we are approaching the summer of 2017, and we're finally getting a little bit of the truth.
I tell you, it's every day what we reported months ago, years ago, days ago is coming out, and that's why they hate us. So everybody's got to spread these videos and articles, InfoWarsStore.com, a lot of great nutraceuticals, great products. We have Trump pinch shirts, Trump's My President shirts to meet like-minded people, trigger anti-free speech people at cost $4.95. But whatever you do, please spread these videos and articles by hand because they're trying to block us everywhere. Roger Stone, closing comments.
You know, every time the narrative turns against Donald Trump, he manages to re-grab control of the narrative. Just as after his State of the Union address on a Monday, on Wednesday, it was leaked that Sessions had met with the ambassador. And then on Friday, Donald Trump counterpunches with the news that he was under surveillance at Trump Tower during the campaign, which he was. My money's on the president. He will re-grab this narrative shortly.
I agree, but it's a battle between, it comes out he was spied on, he was right. It comes out he wasn't working with the Russians, he's right. It comes out it's Seth Rich, the DNC, not the Russians. He keeps getting proven right for, not only say intellectuals, but news hounds that are informed and have memories. A large section of the public, unfortunately, doesn't know the three branches of government. They don't understand any of this. They just keep hearing Russian, covered up from the FBI, asked the FBI to drop this. They don't know Comey was a, Clinton poll writer. They don't know any of that stuff. And then they just see that this guy's 7 feet tall. He says, Lordy, 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 I'm a snake handler. Jesus says Trump's the devil, Lordy, Lordy. I mean, they don't know. So I just hope the police, the military, the law enforcement, and others understand, that if you sell Trump out and do this, you have really, really disgraced yourself and the American people too. So
it's an info war. In fact, it's an info war, and we have to get the information to the American people because they're not going to get it from the mainstream media.
All right, I know you're staying later, so you can go talk to Till Love and other stuff and catch that later flight you booked. So Roger Stone, I want to thank you for joining us with a lot of special reports coming up with you. The Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central. And it's great to have you with us more and more. Hopefully in the near future, we're going to be doing some deals. We're going to be putting down a syndicated radio show for you. So I look forward to that. And a lot of other things we're going to be working on. So we're going to go to this piece at the end of this live feed from last night at the JW Marriott. And I don't know if you can even hear it, but the guy's like 70 feet away or whatever it is. And goes, shut up, you're a traitor. And he's not even an American telling me I'm a traitor. And he's like, why are you upset and acting all trendy? It's like, dude. It's like, man, you people aren't the traitors. You're the people that are here pissing down our backs. So here is that video.
We're doing Facebook mentions, and Alex and Roger Stone are coming in just a moment. I have some breaking news on this current situation with the apparent leaks with oh, here they come. Here they come. So they're coming up the hill. I have some breaking news, some information on the new Russian supposed information.
Here we go. Are you guys already rolling?
Yeah.
You're already live right now?
Rolling.
How long ago did you start?
Just right now.
Well, that's perfect timing. Let's go over here. This will be good right here. We can just shoot this way with that background back this way. Let's just come around here. Okay, come on in close. Let me get some audio on this. I made phone calls about an hour and a half ago to my sources, and I said, McMaster's the reported leaker almost every time. He's the one we know Trump's really, really pissed at, has been testing leaks with. And then I was making phone calls to my sources saying, wait a minute, there's only a few people in this meeting with the Russian ambassador to the United States and the Russian foreign minister, Lavrov. And the media was already saying he's a Russian agent for meeting with him, the president is, and the president's not allowed to talk to anybody, only the deep state is, all this craziness, and they might have planted listening devices. And then suddenly McMaster, who's in the meeting with the Secretary of State and one other unmentioned person, so you got Trump, the Russian ambassador, the Russian foreign minister, and you've got the Secretary of State, you've got the head of the National Security Advisor, McMaster, and then who's this other person there that they're claiming is the leaker, when it's McMaster that over and over again has been caught doing this, and who we know is making these big leaks. And so I made phone calls saying, isn't McMaster probably the main suspect? And they said, absolutely, that's the word. So then I just got here about an hour ago, talked to Roger, he made some phone calls. He's here in Austin visiting, came back about 45 minutes later and said, man, that is on target. McMaster is the main guy that's fingered right now. We're investigating him. So Roger, let's talk about what's happened, what's unfolded. Now they've gone from claiming that Trump's a Russian agent because he met with the Russians, something presidents are supposed to do, or didn't have photographers in the room that were American. That wasn't true either, or let the Russians hide this listening device, which wasn't true. Now the Washington Post comes out and says he gave all this classified info on ISIS and what we were doing. The U.S., as you know, for 3 years, has been working with Russia, taking out ISIS and Al-Qaeda in Syria. That's all over the news. The Russians and the United States share intelligence. But now McMaster, the National Security Advisor, comes out and says, this is totally made up in a press conference about an hour and a half ago. Trump did not share classified info. So he looks like he, to me, is trying to be the savior here because he knows Trump had his neck on the chopping block. That's the motive. We haven't even talked about this in detail yet. What's your breakdown?
First of all, I think it's really important that the American people know that this story is false. Donald Trump did not give any classified secret information to the Russians. That is bogus. The leak definitely came out of the NSA, did not come out of the White House. Yet another finger pointed at McMaster. As Mike Cernovich reported on InfoWars, McMaster's head is on the chopping block, and therefore he has just leaked this to make himself indispensable. They had to march McMaster out for the denial, and therefore now they can't fire him or they can't laterally move him. Here's the key point. According to CNN, the leak of classified information has to do with the fact that ISIS is developing technology to use a laptop computer as a bomb to get those computers on a plane. That's classified? The Russians are our ally in the fight against ISIS, and the president gave away no classified information. This is a classic Washington scam in which McMaster is trying to save his turf.
And let's expand on that, just to be clear. McMaster has the history, he has the motive, he's been caught doing this over and over again. And it's been known that ISIS and Al-Qaeda is trying to use laptops for at least 6 months. So there's this obsession by the deep state to always act like Trump is somehow engaged in treason as the president, talking to the Russians, meeting with the Russians, to the point of he hasn't even met with Putin yet. They're trying to paralyze him. That's what Ronald Reagan did, it's what George W. Bush did, it's what Barack Obama did. It's part of his job. And so we know this guy's for America. We know this guy's expanding the republic. We know all this stuff. Hey, come here. Come on on camera.
I'm just happy.
No, you're talking to fighters. No, I get it. I know. Get our job back.
Hey, Alex, I'm talking to you. You're absolutely batshit crazy. And I think if I can take this, don't even run your mouth. I don't need to run my mouth.
You run your mouth.
You guys are insane. The Stone's standing over there basically saying that the guy that you guys elected is not a traitor. You've got guys running out reading off stuff. It's like, it's insane. This is the United States of America. I grew up looking at this country thinking it was fantastic, and you've got that? What have you done?
Why did you bring it here? Why did you bring the socialism?
What have you done? What have you done to this
Why
country?
did you bring the cuck-milled stuff here?
What have you done?
Why did you bring the cuck-milled stuff here?
What cuck-milled stuff? What are you talking
Well, the
about?
cuck stuff, the wimp stuff. When you come here to America, when we kicked the redcoats out 245 years ago, and you come here and run your mouth, dude. Go back to England. It's overrun by
I don't live
Muslims.
in England. I don't live in the
Listen,
UK.
the point
so
is,
thank you very
but
much.
you've come here to lecture us when we're on the phone with New York Times. We're on the phone.
My grandfather fought alongside Americans in North
with
Africa,
NSA,
in
with
Sicily, and southern Italy in the Second
and with
World War.
NSA sources.
He would turn in his grave
we're
to see
covering-
people like you.
Both my grandfathers were World War II. Don't try.
It's absolutely German right now.
Yeah. Oh, no. Now we're the Germans. See how this works? This is how the cuck-milled stuff works. You just want to walk by and run your mouth. I'm glad you actually had the nerve.
I'm
to come
not
on
running
TV.
my mouth. I listen to you and I listen to you. You actually have a vested interest in getting your skin. Getting your skin out of this.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're gonna fail. We're gonna restore the republic. We're gonna cut the taxes.
The only country that you guys have attacked, your president's attacking right now, is Canada through trade sanctions right now. That's the only country. After all of these 100 days of talk, is Canada. For milk and for softwood lumber.
$3 trillion in the stock market. 300 billion.
I gotta go
300
somewhere.
billion.
I got better
Oh, you're a big man. We have the millions of dollars
have nothing. You know, I'm not. You're attacking me. I'm just the guy on the street.
You shot your mouth first. No, you called us an ace. You called you cups, bro. You're a cup.
You're a cup.
How's your wife?
You're a cup. My wife's great. She's right down there eating dinner. It's awesome. She's having a baby. We're doing real good around here. Anyways,
How's your boyfriend?
yeah, exactly. Listen, I want to respond to all this. Let me tell you something. I'm going to break this down for you what happened, okay? They come out every day saying our president's a traitor because globalists have hijacked this country and have been running into the ground. And all the multinational interests that piss on this nation want to sit here and attack people that stand up for it and are returning power to Washington and to the states and to the people. That's happening and the elites are panicking. The TPP, where multinationals would run all of our major business and control our country, it's gone. He did that day 3 in the White House. $3+ trillion is in the stock market. $300 billion already in new jobs. 500,000 new jobs on top of that, and they can't stand it. The UN funding cut in half. The power being returned to the people. Obamacare repealed in the House, that giant scam job. And you've got these cucked people that are total cowards. We're gonna end this feed in a minute because I'm gonna give that guy the attention and just get back to a total breakdown of the bottom line. You have the president surrounded by enemies in Congress, by both parties, and by people leaking everything he's supposedly doing to sabotage restoring this republic. You've got cowards literally telling us that his grandfather fought the Nazis in his little script, thinking we're the Nazi party here when this is America, dumbass. Okay, this isn't Germany. It's Germany opening it up to Muslims. It's Germany bringing in the Islamists. It's Germany making retirees give their houses up to the Islamists. And we're here. These guys want to walk by and shoot their mouths off and go, F. Alex Jones, Donald Trump's a traitor. When he has no evidence, no proof. It's the globalist Hillary that sold us out to multinationals. It's the globalists that sold us out to China and Russia. It's the globalists. Did Panama Canal get given to the Chinese by Donald John Trump? No, it got given by Jimmy Carter and then by the Clintons. We didn't. Who gave the missile secrets to China? The Clintons. Who gave the nuclear reactors to North Korea? The Clintons. Who's standing up to the mess they created? Donald Trump. I am a policy wonk. All I do is study news. All I do is research. All I do is take action. And I have to sit there and watch McMaster and all these other guys who we know are the leakers. We told you all was coming a week before it all broke. And we see these lesser so-called men run their mouths because the comedians on TV pose as news presenters and sit there and attack me and myself and all the rest of this crap. And they sit there and have this great enjoyment asking me, how's my wife doing? She's downstairs eating dinner. We just had a baby. We're doing real good. We're kicking ass. My audience has doubled since I met this guy, and it was already gigantic. We're the winners, dumbasses. Here's the deal. They tell these cucks we're failures so they can sit there and feel big about themselves and wander around and tell us that we're failures when we are the winners. We're changing the world. And the rest of you who are little traitors, you sit there and look at us and tell us that you're winning when you're losing. Roger, go ahead.
The usual understatement by Alex Jones. Look, we don't need some elitist creep from the UK to tell us what's going on here. To get back to the main point, this is a major media thrust, an attack on the president to further destabilize him. It is not coincidental that there's a video up today accusing the president of having Alzheimer's and making the case that he is non-compos mentis. This is the next big wave that they intend to put out there. Well, I've spoken to the president in recent days. He's perfectly sane. He is upbeat. He is combative. He has no intention of folding for the globalists, and that I can assure you.
And it wasn't bad. I'm going to interrupt about that guy, but I'm going to end this transmission, come back with a totally clean one. I'm going to post on InfoWars and Prison Planet. I'm going to tweet out on Real Alex Jones, on Stone Cold Truth, Roger Stone's tweet, because this is so big, okay? We have the president under mega, massive, complete, and total attack. And all these fake cucked males can't even believe that people even can talk. They don't believe that's a sign of conspiracy theory. If a man can talk or have kids, that's a sign he's bad. So we can still talk. We still walk bipedally. We have a president who isn't a coward. He's absolutely devastating all the cowards and all the scum, and all these cowards want to hide the shadows and put out anonymous bullshit all day long, and then sit there and come back like they're the saviors of the president, saying I was in the meeting, none of this happened. It shows how desperate they are. That nationalism's rising worldwide, and we're kicking your ass everywhere except France. So you got France on your side. Sorry. That tells you where you're at. Infowars.com/show. I'm going to end this transmission. We'll come back with one more live one in a second. Stay with us.